close enough?
Yeah.
All right. All right, if we'll rise, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the September 19, 2024 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for Shawnee County. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair this year. Joining me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioner Bill Rippon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Our County Councilor, Mr. Eckert.
Good morning.
And then filling in for Ms. Beck, we have Ms. Otto. Good morning.
Good morning.
Our first item on the agenda.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Are there any questions regarding the consent agenda, or is there a motion?
I'll move for approval. Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
This morning, we have vouchers totaling $3,902,385.91. Couple of items to note under there. Under solid waste, $78,904 to Shawnee Mission Ford is for 2 pickup trucks. $81,163.40 is to Rare Pacific Company. That is for new refuse totes. Under facilities management, $286.42 to City and Company is for courthouse renovations, which are now 90% complete through July. No questions or concerns about any of these, so I would move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item B, Noxious Weed Department. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-291-2024, a consultant service agreement with UA Solutions Group for preparation and submission of filing the appropriate documentation with the FAA.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. As Chris said this morning, I'm asking approval to enter into agreement with the consultant to finish filling out our paperwork and getting it filed with the FAA. It's been a lengthy process so far. We did get our drone registered with the FAA, but this is to file the Part 137, which allows us to apply herbicides from it. In visiting with Jonathan Brazon at the counselor's office, it's a whole lot more in depth than I think most of us want to take on. This is also filing the safety management system, training and flight operations and procedure manuals. It's creating all that stuff for us to save that time. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. So you're asking to hire a consultant for the preparation of the paperwork for the FAA, just to make sure that everything is done accordingly so you can get the final permits for your licensure?
Yes, sir. So it's not delayed. If we miss one little step, then it gets kicked back, then it just delays the process even more. So they also file all those documents that we need. They create our SOPs for it and our flight manuals for it, so.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Landon?
Yes. How often do we have to do updated submissions to the FAA?
We'll just renew every 4 years, so it'll just be a renewal. It won't be this big, long process that we did, so it'll just be pay the
So
fee.
we only go through this once? Other than
Yeah,
that, we're
once,
just
and then pay
renewing?
the fee every 4 years to update our license.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions?
I would move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, consider approval of a request to surplus a Toyota forklift in the next Purple Wave auction, with proceeds from the sale to be placed in the department's capital outlay fund.
Good morning again, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. It's been a long 2 years coming, so if you remember back in 2022, the Commission approved us to purchase a new forklift for the Weed Department. That thing finally showed up probably about 3 days short of the 2-year mark. So I'm asking the commission for approval to surplus our Toyota and sell it on Purple Wave. We did not offer this up to any other departments, commissioners, just because the age and condition of the unit. It's an 80s model that we bought used. So there's been lengthy process trying to keep this thing running for us, and so we didn't feel it was going to be a good fit for any other department to be able to use. So.
Okay. Questions?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the request by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Our next item.
Item C, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-296-2024, a memorandum of understanding between Shawnee County and Black American Blueprint Collective outlining requirements and responsibilities of the Our Stories African American Topeka Before and After Brown Traveling Exhibit display held at Great Overland Station.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So we're excited about this this display. It's currently, I believe it just ended a run at the Public Library here in Topeka, and it was very successful there. This display was curated by the Black Americans Blueprint Collective. The exhibit celebrates and honors the experiences and contributions of Black Americans in Topeka's community, society, culture, and economy, and especially before and after Brown v. Board. So I think it'll be neat. It'll be a great addition to Great Overland Station, and we're excited to have it. I do want to note that on the agreement, I did catch one error that it says it's going to start, I believe, on August 26th. I think that was our original date that we wanted to get going, but it'll actually start this weekend if approved today. So.
Okay. Questions? I'll make a motion to approve with the amendment showing that it starts this weekend.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, approval is requested on the Certificate of Substantial Completion for the Family Park Project with MCP Build per Shawnee County Contract C-317-2023. The total cost estimate of work to be completed or corrected is $75,000.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So we're excited to wrap this project up out at Family Park. I think it turned out extremely well. And if you've been out since the ribbon cutting, I've been out there several times. The playground and the pickleball courts are getting used. Every time I go out there, that park's full. So I think the community's responded very well to it, and we're very proud of it. We have, as the memo says, we have about $75,000 worth of work remaining, and that all centers around that shelter. So the shelter, if you haven't been out, is up. But there's still electrical work to be done. There's still the columns of the shelter are going to be wrapped in stone. And so it already looks amazing. It'll be even better once they finish it. But that's all that remains, and then that project will be complete. Be happy to answer any questions.
Did the project remain within budget?
It did.
Okay.
It did.
Other questions?
Are you getting a lot of use out there?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I had no doubt the pickleball courts would be full and that they would be used, and they are. But what really has kind of surprised me is the amount of people that are on that playground every time we go out there. It's quite honestly, we may have to add a few more pieces. I mean, we planted plenty of trees. It's going to take some time for them to mature, but there is a little bit of a lack of shade out there probably right now. But just every time we go out there, there's 30, 40 people on that playground, kids.
It's great.
Well, in a month, I think everybody's going to love that sunshine when
Yeah,
it starts
right.
getting cold out. But I agree. I drove by there at 9 a.m. on a Sunday and it was packed, and then I drove by at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday and it was packed also. So I mean, it's getting a lot of use.
Absolutely.
Has there been any talk about a pickleball tournament out there? Or?
Not yet. I haven't heard anything yet, but I know staff is meeting with Topeka Pickleball Association, and We're still working on some, I think eventually there'll probably be an MOU between us and them that kind of outlines the use and probably talks about tournaments and things. But they're a good group to work with, and we've had a lot of communication really through the whole process, so.
Good.
And I know I've had multiple people reach out to me about sponsorship opportunities
Yeah.
already too, so it's, hopefully a little bit of revenue
Yeah.
might be good out there too.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 297, 2024 with Keystone Masonry LLC for wall repairs to a shared wall located at Breezeway Park. Cost of $23,350 is available in the department's 3R maintenance fund.
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So this is, this location is Veterans Park. We refer to it as Breezeway Park. It's between the two buildings there, between that parking lot that we maintain in Veterans Park and Kansas Avenue. It's a neat little area. We've done a lot of work there, but we are partial owners of the walls on either side of that park. And so on this one side, that wall is in pretty bad shape. We've had to put up some snow fence and block that area off. And the other owner has already done quite a bit of work. He's replaced the gutters, repaired the roof, and kind of stopped the water problem at the top. But we need to go in and repair this wall and do some tuck pointing and other things to make sure it doesn't fall. So that's what we're asking him to do today. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Tim, which wall, is it the north wall or the south wall?
It is, if you're walking from the parking lot into Veterans, or to Breezeway Park, it'd be on your right-hand side.
Okay, because we did some work on that wall a few years back. I don't know the extent of that. I think it was some tuck pointing, maybe. It's just, I
Yeah,
can't remember. But, all right.
I'm not sure if that was before, must have been before I got here, but, or unless you were sitting up here at the
Owning
time.
those partial walls was kind of a
Yeah,
welcome surprise when we got that land, that all of a sudden we realized we owned part of the walls.
it is a very
A
unique
couple inches on
situation.
each side. It was,
Yeah.
Commissioner Rippon, it says specifically Phase 1 repair, which there's really not Phase 1, it's just the repair, is 20 feet of wall on the north side of the building, which also includes installing flashing on the top of the wall.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Any other questions?
no.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Our next item.
Item D, Public Works. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 292, 2024 with Shawnee County Consolidated Rural Water District Number 4 for the relocation of water lines in conflict with a road improvement project on Northwest 46th Street between Fielding and Rochester Roads.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Nee, House Director of Public Works. As we prepare for our first sales tax project on Northwest 46th Street, all the right-of-way has been acquired, and now it's time to move utilities. The first utility to relocate would be this Consolidated Rural Water District Number 4. They are in a private easement, so we are obligated to pay for their relocation, and that's what this agreement does. It allows the utility to move forward, and we would like to let this project first quarter of next year, so we recommend that this agreement be approved. I look forward to your questions.
So words like let this project first quarter, in plain English, maybe somewhere around January or February, 46th Street might have starting of construction. Is that what we would see, or?
That's right. I would like to see construction starting around the first quarter of next year.
Okay,
I can't guarantee it at this point, but that is what is in my mind.
okay.
Yeah,
Of course, weather and otherwise dependent.
absolutely. And then obviously, it depends on how the utilities move forward and how quick they are to relocate their utility.
Huh.
What other utilities are we gonna have to relocate?
Oh, gosh.
Everything?
There's quite a few. I don't know how many yet we're gonna have to relocate. But I know there's a number of them that are in conflict. Whether we're gonna have to pay for that relocation, I can't answer that at this time.
Okay. Well, I know the utility relocation has been the bane of many projects in the city of Topeka and causing delays and unnecessary delays. And so hopefully the county, we've not historically had those problems. We've worked very good with our utilities, and hopefully this will continue to be the case.
Yes, I agree.
Other questions? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, acknowledge change order number 1 final to contract C202-2024 with Sunflower Paving, Inc., reflecting as bid versus as constructed quantities for a parking lot improvement project at the Manor Conference Center.
Courtney, House Director of Public Works. Yes, we are happy that our inconvenience to the hotel and the conference center is over. I think the work turned out quite well. I think the event center folks and the hotel folks are happy after the fact. And so with that, I'm requesting that you at least acknowledge this change order. And I'm pleased to say that the project was within budget and not quite completed on time, but close to it. I look forward to your questions.
No questions.
No questions. I would move that we acknowledge the change order.
I'll second.
Motion to acknowledge change order by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 3, consider awarding a bid letting to King's Construction Company, Inc. of Oskaloosa, Kansas for a road improvement project on Southwest Auburn Road between Southwest 29th Street and K4 Highway at a cost of $5,458,045.82 and authorization and execution of construction, contract C-293-2024 with the same entity. The construction will be paid for using funds from a variety of internal and external sources.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. You know, on August 21st, we had a bid letting for a project that we've been working very diligently on over the last couple years. I know Aaron Mays has been involved from the very beginning, and I think I voiced my concern from the very beginning whether we'd be able to get this project designed, right-of-way purchase, utilities relocated in time to satisfy the school district. We've made great progress. We had the letting. We recommend, Shawnee County Public Works recommends that the low bid submitted by King's Construction for the HMA asphalt option be approved and accepted and a contract executed so that we can move forward with construction. We plan, if you approve this contract today, we plan to have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor on Monday. I look forward to your questions.
If your pre-construction meeting is on Monday, and then what would our timeline for the public be?
I'm guessing the contractor will want to start as soon as possible, and as soon as I know a time, I will announce it.
Okay.
And I will be getting with Amanda to put out a press release.
All right, Commissioner Mays, or Commissioner Rippon? Ah, damn it, Commissioner Mays,
You
second.
got it right, yeah. So Kurt, obviously, you know, asphalt plants are gonna be closing and won't be open again until the spring. So I assume, is the first portion of this gonna be just a lot of, I mean, we haven't started utility relocation or anything like that? have
No, utilities are out of the way for our first phase.
we? Okay,
So let me go over that real quick. Okay, that's a good question. Real quick. We've got the two roundabouts. The school's roundabout is where we're gonna start work first. That roundabout is concrete, so we'll be able to work over the winter on that roundabout. That is one of the advantages of concrete. So the concrete for the school, the concrete at 29th and Auburn Road, and the left turn lane on Auburn Road to enter the school complex are going to be concrete. The rest of the project will be predominantly asphalt as per the asphalt option.
okay. Okay, so we'll be able to get it, a good chunk of it done over the winter.
That's the idea.
So, okay,
Yeah.
fantastic, thank you.
When is this school scheduled to be open?
August of next year,
Okay.
and which would be, I'd say, mid-August. And we definitely want to have the schools roundabout open, because remember, 80% of the traffic, 70 to 80% of the traffic using that facility will use that roundabout. So if we can get that roundabout built, we've solved a lot of the problem getting people in and out of that complex.
Good.
This has been quite a project. I mean, we're moving at light speed, and and it hasn't been without contention.
Yes, that's
But
right.
I'm happy to see that the bids came in so much under the engineer's estimate. I think that helps things.
Well, not only
a lot.
did they come in under, but of the 4 bids, 3 of them were clustered real close together. That tells you they are good bids.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
great. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Kurt. Our next item.
Item E, Human Resources, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-295, 2024, a 3-year renewal with Delta Dental with no increase to the current administrative rate of $3.50 per member per month for 2025, and a 5-cent increase per member per month for years 2026 and 2027.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis, Director of Administrative Services. As the clerk just read, this contract would remain the same for 2025 and have a 5 cents increase for 2026 and 27. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think it's great that we're not looking at a rate increase for our members, and $3.50 is really, really low for dental, so.
Well,
That's our
that's just the
administrative cost.
administrative
Yeah,
costs.
right, administrative, but yeah.
Yeah, the claims are probably gonna be quite a bit more still.
And just to remember, it is bundled. When you have our health insurance, you get our dental and prescription as part of that fee.
Any other questions?
No. I would move for approval.
I'll second.
Commissioner Rippon moves to approve. Commissioner Mays seconds. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you. Our next item.
Item F, Commission, number 1, consider the reappointment of Mike Munson to the MTAA Board by Commissioner Mays.
Mike Bunson's done a fantastic job on the MTA board by all accounts, and has a desire to continue for another 3 years, so I would make a motion that we reappoint him.
I concur with those assessments and feedback that I have from board members that he's done an excellent job, and so I would second that motion. Motion made by Commissioner Mays to reappoint Mike Munson to the MTAA Board, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Number 2, acknowledge that Commissioner Mays is appointing Nikki Ramirez Jennings to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
So I have a vacancy on the Parks and Rec Advisory Board right now. Thank you to Brett Thiessen for filling that role for the last couple of years. He is not being reappointed, and Nikki has been real involved in with Cent, and is now with Omni Circle, and I think would do a great job on that board. So I would make a motion to appoint Nikki Ramirez Jennings.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Mays to appoint, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Our next item.
Item G, Audit Finance. Number 1, review the preliminary 2025 budget for adjustments and/or adoption of the 2025 budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. Sorry. Hopefully, that's the roughest part of this morning. Okay, so we're here to hopefully finish, or at least have some further discussion on our 2025 budget. We kind of pick up where we left off with the preliminary budget currently set at $146,075,339 for 2025.
before we get into the budget discussion, let's touch on the revenue neutral rate, the mill levy rate, and what actions the county commission has taken as relates to that mill levy.
Okay, the county has been following the revenue neutral rate policy as set forth in statute, where during the September 5th meeting, we had a public hearing for the revenue neutral rate of Shawnee County, where the public was able to come and make comment on the revenue neutral rate, or the county's intention to exceed the revenue neutral rate. Everyone was heard. The commissioners then passed a resolution on that date with approving to exceed the revenue neutral rate for 2025.
And I guess really going back before that action was taken, there was a self-imposed limit by the county commission that they said that the mill levy would not exceed a set amount, correct?
Correct. Last year, or you guys had decided at the very beginning, back in July, that you would like to make at least a $750,000 cut to what the departments had submitted as their departmental requests for the year. And leading up to September 5th, you guys achieved finding $953,478 worth of adjustments to the departmental budget requests. So that's where we get to the number that we're at today.
So before we even get to today's point, we have already lowered what the mill levy was last year.
Correct. Last year, the mill levy was 48.649, and at this moment, we are sitting at an estimated, because we can't guarantee, but we are at an estimated 48.559.
So the county is, again, already at a lower mill levy rate than they were last year.
Correct.
But there may be an increase just due to increases in people's appraised values or assessed values for their homes.
Correct. We don't set the mill levy, we set the budget, and then based on where the budget is set and where the values of the homes, or actually more than homes, all of the property comes in, that is then a formula that calculates the mill levy.
Okay. Are there any other preliminary discussions from the commissioners?
Not preliminary, no.
All right. Are there other changes or adjustments that the commissioners would like to have considered?
Jennifer, I think that, we've discussed quite a bit. I know we had some questions about the sheriff's budget last 2 weeks ago. I had a bunch of questions, and I feel like I've gotten a pretty decent explanation of most of those things. It looks like a lot of things were just moved around, and so they looked like new expenses, but were not necessarily. Would you want to touch on that just a little bit?
Sure, yeah.
And more,
So,
maybe a little more detail than what I can
yes, I'm not sure.
explain?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I brought that along today, but yeah, I went through and just kind of summarized where most of the budget increases are for the sheriff's office. Some of those were due to some one-time budget cuts that we took last year, and that is kind of the effect of whenever you cut something completely out and shift it to a prior year, which is what we did in '24. We shifted some of those costs to '23, therefore the '24 budget was lower than it was to actually operate the department. And then, so some of those are coming back on, and that's true of gasoline and tires. So those are showing like there is a larger increase on those lines than there truly is if you look at both years in a combination. So that was some of it. Some of it is, I think there's about 20% increase in contractual services. That also look like some higher increases because we are doing a better job countywide of actually coding with detail what our expenditures are so that it can be analyzed easier. And And so once I grouped that together, you could see that there wasn't a bunch of new expenses, but rather it was just shifting of some expenses from contractual services to details.
Okay. And then the other thing with the sheriff's budget, maybe one of you guys would like to speak to it. The overtime was substantial. And I'm curious, do you envision that going down? Because it seems like your staffing levels are getting to where they, like in a much better position now than they were, say, 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, do you envision that going down at all?
It's somewhat of a double-edged sword, sir. As our staffing levels, if we can get our staffing levels increased in communications, that overtime will go down. With more officers, subsequently, more work, keeping crime down. Subsequently, when you have reports, et cetera, that's where a lot of that overtime comes. Special events that take place within the county that we have to pay overtime because we don't have staffing to do a big event, whether somewhere in Topeka, Shawnee County. That's where a lot of that overtime is. So I could anticipate possibly our communications overtime coming down. On the sworn side, probably not so much.
Okay. Thank you.
So the, Undersheriff, the overtime then was primarily from your sworn officers or from dispatch?
I don't know what the breakdown is.
I don't know what the expenditure was. I know budgetarily, $400,000 is budgeted for the sworn officers, and $417,000, I believe it is for the dispatch and.
Be all the civilian side, but
Yes.
most of the overtime on the civilian side is through the communications center and the staffing issues that we're trying to get worked through right now.
And as stated by Commissioner Mays and as confirmed by yourself both today and prior, the staffing for the sworn officers is at an acceptable rate. We don't have large vacancies in sworn officers at this time.
That is correct.
Okay. I think that previously, the communication from the sheriff's office was we have maybe 4 vacancies in the sworn officers or thereabouts.
Approximately in that 4 to 5 range.
Okay. But it's in dispatch that right now, today, September the 19th of 2024, that you're really looking at that vacancy rate being high.
In communications, the vacancy rate is extremely high right now.
Okay. And so that's where you're needing more, and again, forecasting from 2024 into 2025, I would anticipate that's where you're going to spend a lot of your time and energies focused on addressing that issue.
We're spending a lot of our time and energy right now, and we'll continue to into 2025. We've had an awful lot of interviews, had some candidates that are looking promising at this point. It's way too early to tell because that process, whether it be the background process that they have to go through, they go through the same intense background process that a sworn officer does. And then we have the training piece that takes place, and the amount of people that drop out in both the background and in the training piece is fairly high, but we'll continue to work through that.
And as I understand it, from communication from the sheriff's office, the reason that we have the vacancies in communications dispatch right now is because of other jurisdictions and other opportunities for people to maybe look at a similar job earning more money?
We've lost several fairly long-term employees to other entities, government entities outside of Shawnee County, yes.
So it's not necessarily anything that Shawnee County's done, it's just an opportunity to better their family.
Because we have overtime and shift work, a lot of people don't like to work shift work and work on weekends, which our communications is open 24/7, as everyone well knows. We have to have people to staff those, and a lot of job opportunities that some of these people are realizing are more Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 type jobs.
Okay. All right. Other questions regarding the sheriff's budget, or is there adjustments wanting to be made to the sheriff's budget?
No, I don't have any other questions or anything. Thank you.
All right. Are there other areas of discussion for the budget?
Yeah.
Yes. Commissioner Mays?
So Jennifer, the last email that I could find on this year's contingency, it looked like we had around $690,000 still in contingency from this year. Does that sound
I
correct?
actually just ran that this
Or-
morning. We currently, at this moment in time, have $683,000 left in our contingency. However, we do have a couple of pending items that will potentially use all but $60,000 of that.
All but $60,000.
Correct.
And when are those expenses gonna be? I know, I have a pretty good idea of what the expenses are. I believe it's JP Lewis, HVAC, is that one of them, or?
No, it's for the event center and for a potential wage study.
Okay. And when are those?
The wage study would just be if you guys choose to use money at the end of the year. It was more of like if there's excess, that would be a potential use for it at the end of the year. And the event center, I'm not sure when or if that will end up being needed or when they will be making that request.
Okay. I don't know that the wage study is appropriate use of contingency funds, but I guess we'll talk about that when the time comes, but okay, that's good. And then I'll see if you guys have any other.
Was it, drawing from your line of questioning, are you looking at making an adjustment to the 2025 budget to lower our contingency?
I've just, well, I mean, that's what I was kind of inquiring to find out is, you know, if we have an appropriate amount budgeted for next year, and also if there'd be any carryover.
We wouldn't have any carryover of contingency just because we don't carry our contingency funds from year to year as it's part of the general fund. But I know we have in the past lowered contingency. It all just depends on, well, because of the nature of what it is. It's money we have set aside for unknown expenses. So some years, like so far this year, we thought it was gonna be terrible at first, and then things turned around because it started off being a very bad winter. And so we had some storm damage, we had things that we had to pay out of contingency at the very beginning. We thought there was gonna be that JP Lewis expense, but then we ended up funding that out of capital outlay. So, I mean, it just all depends on what happens if it is contingency.
All right. Are there other areas that we want to look at?
I don't have any.
Commissioner Mays?
No, not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Let's go over to our bottom line. If we can go to the bottom of the spreadsheet. If the county commission was to approve the budget as it is set currently, where would that leave us?
That would leave us with a total budget for 2025 of $146,075,339, which would be a mill levy of, an estimated, mill levy of 48.559, which would come in just a touch under last year's mill levy, which was 48.649. So it would be a reduction of about almost 0.1 of the mill levy from last year.
Commissioner Mays?
So I would be interested in possibly taking a little bit of reserves to sort of buy that mill levy down a little bit more. I mean, if we use maybe $500,000 of excess reserves, would you guys be open to doing something like that?
Jennifer, we set our reserves policy that we would have a ceiling and a basement, so it would be no lower than but no higher than. Can you address where our reserves stand currently?
For our excess reserves, yes.
Yes.
Goodness.
And then also keep in mind that we are in some negotiations right now, wage negotiations, that are likely gonna have to tap into some of those reserves also, so we don't wanna take too much, but
Correct, so our reserve policy is based on the percentage of our uncommitted general fund balance. Our uncommitted general fund balance at the end of, or is estimated at the end of 2024 to be right under 40 million. So for 2025's budget, that would mean we would have excess reserves of 3.4 million and estimated at, at 25%, that would be $36,569,000. So to get our excess reserves would be 3.4 over the top of our maximum.
So $3.4 million would be the amount that would be excess.
Correct. That would be over our excess goals.
I know that there were some projects such as addressing wage negotiations we've got several contracts still out pending that would affect our budget for 2025 that would need to be factored in, that we usually draw from that. And then also there may be some projects that we were looking at using those from. Specifically, I think we were at one time talking about the addition of whether it's the crossover courts or looking at other projects that are within Parks and Recreation at a later time. But if we were to draw down 500,000, that would still be more than plenty for addressing those issues.
Absolutely. 500,000 would still leave us able to handle all of the potential issues that we would be looking at funding with those.
Okay. Questions?
I'd make a motion that we move 500,000 from reserves.
So would that bring us down to a full mill then, that reduction?
I doubt it.
No, that would bring us to 48.338, which would be 0.3 mil.
Okay. Letting you update. Commissioner Rippon?
Those projects we were looking at, like cost over, is this the same money we're talking about?
Well, we were looking at a number of different things. We had interest from ARPA that we were looking at. We were looking at some additional of the ARPA uncommitted or committed but unspent funds.
We don't have, the two spots that I'm aware of that we would still have for the crossover would be the ARPA, SLFRF interest that we earn. And then there still is a portion of the $20 million bonds in the Parks and Rec side that has not yet been officially committed.
And then were we going to splice two projects together, some courts and the resurfacing, so we get a better bid?
Yes.
I think that's what we're looking at.
But I think a lot of that, I think we can cover from other sources too, right? So, I mean, I think, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that, I
We can
think
cover
there,
that with other sources. I could go along with this.
Yeah.
All right. Commissioner Mays, any other additional adjustments?
Did we vote on that?
Well,
I gave it a second.
okay. Motion made to have 500,000 allocated from the reserve balance to go to the 2025 preliminary budget by Commissioner Mays, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
I will pretty that up whenever it's finalized. I'm just,
No, you're fine. Okay. Then are we at a spot where we are considering a final budget for 2025?
I think so.
All
I
right.
think so.
Then I will make a motion to approve the 2025 budget at a total budget amount of $1,045,000.
No.
Sorry, 100, gosh darn it. tongue-tied today.
You're right.
$145,575,339.
Not quite, but you're close. As presented would probably.
$145,575,339.
All right, that's what I thought I said in my head, but it didn't come out of my mouth.
Give or
All
take
right,
a little bit.
Give or take.
It happens to me too.
All right.
It's-
As presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed.
Can I also clarify that that is also approving the 2025 CIP as,
I thought we already did that.
We will do that as a separate, I'll do that as separate.
Okay.
So let's approve this first. So motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. That passes 3-0. In an abundance of caution, I make a motion to approve the prior CIP budget.
$2,187,880 from capital outlay.
Could you repeat that?
2 million.
No, I was asking the
Oh,
chair to repeat it.
I don't think I can. Not today. I'm tongue-tied today. So my motion would be to approve the CIP.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Jennifer, is there any additional discussion for our 2025 budget?
No, I do not believe so, other than to say thank you to you and to all the departments.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and address the thank you to you and your staff who have spent a lot of hours working on this. Hopefully it's a relief to be done with it now, so you got a whole year to get ready for the next one now,
That's right.
so.
Yeah,
All right,
good times. Thanks.
our next item.
Item 5, public comment.
We do have a speaker signed up, Mr. McClure.
Thank you for the opportunity. It'd be nice as a line item to have the reserve balance on the sheet. I got tongue-tied the other day, too. I got a phone call from Jim Klossman. It was like the principal calling you to the office. But it was interesting. We got to speak about Lawrence Bay. And he asked me for his help, which tongue-tied me. The thought that I could help Jim Klossman in any way. But apparently the social media that I'm involved with has made Lawrence Bay and the issues around Lawrence Bay come up to the top of the list. And the fact that there were some lots gonna be on the auction, and his desire to put together an RHID was running into some snags due to issues brought up in the social media. And while I was in the meeting, you know, I thought about what it's like to be a county commissioner for a fleeting moment. And I want to be a county commissioner to help developers and do things. And even though on this side, I've got resentments and I don't believe in my heart of hearts that the treasurer, the county commissioners, and the county councilors are adhering to the state law. There's an old saying that a guilty dog barks the loudest. And when I read your counselor's letter in response to the letter that was drafted to our Attorney General, Chris Kobach, he basically verifies all my concerns. Because he looked like an underwriter that we deal with in the commercial real estate business of valuations and prices, and things that don't have anything to do with anything. Look, if you haven't paid your taxes and it's a vacant lot, it goes on the auction. And what we need to do is we need to turn over our properties. We need to incentivize new money. So what was really nice about the Jim Klossman deal, because we are in the income business, and that's nice about me. I got to get a job every day. I got to get paid every day. Social Security is just not enough for me today to live on. I've saved a little money, but I still have to get up and go to work. But we got a check for $167,000 yesterday because they were on the list. And Jim came to the table wanting to make a deal. And he's got an overall master plan that's great. And if he doesn't do it, well, fine. We'll just auction off all his lots. That's fine. And he's okay with that. But he's making an effort to make a deal, and you'll see the taxpayers get $3 or $4 million out of this thing. And he's, between him and Jennifer, they've got a plan, and they're bringing it in. But it was because the properties were on the auction list. That's what forced him to the table. Because I don't think it's my social media. But if it is, that's great. This is why I want to engage the Topeka Board of Realtors. And what's really nice about the 750 people, you don't have to pay them. We all get paid deal by deal. We live by the deal. You don't have to hire a consultant. But if you've got all the even if we just take them back and give them away and get taxes coming in on them, we're better off. But without them being available, without us being able to turn over the inventory, we won't change. So we just got to do things differently. It was nice to see that side of Jim. It was cool. So what's settled, I haven't had an opportunity to respond personally to the letter that your counselor wrote about basically justifying the mistakes. But what was nice, and I've made a living by dealing with the really rich guys, because usually you get paid. And that's an important part of the real estate deal, is getting paid. You want to get to closing. I don't want to see these properties ever go into a land bank. The last thing I want is government running any more business, especially a land bank. Because government now got us in the position where we are. And government isn't going to get us out by putting properties in land banks. That's a terrible idea. You have a land bank today that's failing. The biggest failed land bank that I know is operated by Jetto and your contractor Go Topeka. They have hundreds of acres that they bought for economic development reasons that sit off the tax roll. So I sold some land, it's now been 18 years to Go Topeka, and it sits vacant today. And you're spending $5 million a year to have them move that land. That money could be better off put into infrastructure. Because you can always find the money deal by deal. The deals should pay for themselves or we shouldn't do them. The deals need to broaden the tax base and increase the population. All we're doing in Topeka is just all trading amongst ourselves. And we got to bring new money to the community. We've got to turn over the inventory we've had. The only listing I've ever had over 20 years is the one that it took me 2 years to get a Pizza Hut. permit behind the Ace Hardware there on California 29. And the inefficiencies of the city spending $1 million a year on Banish, the engineers. We got a lot of good engineers in Topeka. So my engineer submits to their consultant engineer, and it's like a ping pong ball back and forth, and the bills go up, and that makes our taxes go up. We've got talent. The county maybe ought to help the public works director or the city manager to dovetail, to make it to where people want to come to this town. $167,000 check yesterday. That was beautiful. What a start. Just need to take the inventory we got and turn it over. And we've got to change our way of thinking and let new ideas get introduced to this community. Not everything can be sensitized or run through the Greater Topeka Partnership. Almost $800,000 in gifts and grants. I had my web developer, he goes, "Why did you call it chum?" He goes, "What's chum?" I go, "Well, that's how you get fish, you chum." So the $800,000 over the last 2 years to get people to love Go Topeka, and the $3.5 million, they're not filling up our land bank. And we've got to get government out of the way. Tomorrow you change it, you got 750 people that just want to make deals, that get the Sunflower Board of Realtors engaged. Hey, you got to help us move all this property. We got deals to make. There's a guy clear over here that maybe sold one house last year, but he might know somebody. But right now, the way the system is, he can't really get through it. So we just need to change. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you guys. Appreciate your time.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to address the county commission on any item? All right, our next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
This is an opportunity for any department head or employee of the county commission, or the county, to address the county commission.
Good morning, Commissioners. Angela Lewis, Director of Administrative Services. Just as a reminder, October 3rd, the mobile mammography unit will be at Evergy Plaza for our employees and anyone with insurance to attend.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Angela.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Monholland with the Commission Office, and I just wanted to remind everyone that tomorrow night from 6 to 9:30 is our bingo night for the Shawnee County fundraiser for Helping Hands Humane Society. And today is the last day to do advanced purchases for tickets to receive a free blackout card. So hope to see everyone tomorrow night.
Commissioner Mays?
Amanda, is this only open to like Shawnee County employees, or is this open to the general public?
So it is for Shawnee County employees and their family members to come. However, we are not at capacity, so if we do have some people that would like to join us, we are more than welcome to do that.
I know people love bingo, so.
Yeah, and we're gonna have food
Word
trucks.
gets out, there might be a lot of people show up.
Well, we do have a capacity at the Big Gate Shelter House, but we also have food trucks, so I know food trucks bring in people that are gonna be there outside for not just our event, so it is possible, so we'll see.
All right. Thanks,
Great,
sounds
thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. I just wanted to pass along some information that I received last week from from our folks over at Kansas Department of Ag. The Secretary has decided to accept the advisory committee's recommendations and to adopt 5 new noxious weeds to the list. So that process, they'll begin the regulatory process on that now, and so we should see those coming out shortly. They've also decided to remove one of the noxious weeds that's on there, which we don't have in Shawnee County. It's pignut, but you will see honeysuckle, common and cut leaf teasel, spotted and diffused knapweeds be put on the noxious weed list. We don't have very much knapweed, spotted or diffused. There is a little bit, not much, but we have an abundance of the others. And so with that, that means once it is approved and on the noxious weed list, by law, you'll have to treat it, and there'll be enforcements to that weed. So,
Okay,
thanks.
appreciate it. Thank you. Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Mays?
John, don't be getting too crazy with that new forklift. Okay.
It actually drives through the parking lot well.
Nothing else.
Commissioner Rippon?
I have nothing to add.
Nor do I. Our next item.
Executive sessions?
There is not a need for an executive session today, so we are adjourned.